Okay, okay. Okay, why did I do that? I'm sorry. Let's just get into this video. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks about this dude. John, John, get the hummus. Shove it up his rectum cavity. Yeah, what is things like that, bro. Yo, there was this one dude who did like an Ambu Black Ops video that was formatted like it said if the CIA whatchamacalls it whistleblower were asked about like Danzo and Heroes.
Oh, Lord Third? Oh, yeah, he's the worst. He's ruthless. I remember one time we had this ninja from the Hidden Rain, right? Super undercover Ambu guy, try to get some documents from the library. And we got him tied up. We've done fire style jutsu on him, poisoned him up. He's not cracking. Lord Third looks at me and says, Shinobi John,
pass me the hummus. We're shoving it up his ass and six-prong sealing it.
I'm like, you mean the jutsu they used to secure the Nine Tails? Then he looks over to this Uchiha kid, like 13, I don't know, way too young to be here. He goes, Itachi, I want you to put him in a genjutsu where I'm banging his
wife, his mom, and his sister all at the same time.
And then I chop off their heads and start
football juggling them like I'm Lionel Messi.
Oh yeah, Danzo would do the Uchihas terribly, terribly. A little trade secret, a lot of people knew that Danzo was taking their eyeballs, right, putting them in his arms. But what a lot of people didn't know is that he would be decorating his house with the eyeballs of the Uchiha members he tortured. And so I remember one time I went to his crib and I used his bathroom, washed my hands, and I noticed that the eyeballs are like in the bathroom, specifically facing towards the mirror, like the eyeballs are looking at the mirror behind him. And I said, that's strange, like why do you have them behind you, facing the mirror? And he told me because he wanted the Uchiha to
always see how they had him fucked up.
I said, you're a sick man.
Nah, this dude is hilarious, bro. He's a comedian for real. But I don't want to take up too much time with the intro, so let's get it started. Hey, this hat and this, they kind of match. That's nice. I did not plan that at all. Yes. I'm gonna like this video, as you should, you know, this video and my video, you feel me? But especially my video, because this video is already doing quite well. This one, it's already doing quite well. But me though, you can support your boy, you feel me? But the link to the original video will be in the description. Some other things are probably gonna be in the description as well. Whether you check them out or not, that's entirely up to you. I don't even know if there are gonna be things in the description, but we'll figure it out.
And through our phones and laptop cameras, yes, I hate to say it, they can take over your smart television and turn the speaker into a microphone so that they can listen to what's being said in the room even when the TV is turned off.
Well, that's terrifying.
Hello, I'm John Kiriakou. I'm a former CIA counterterrorism officer and former senior investigator for the U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, and I'm here today to answer questions from the Honesty Box.
The Honesty Box? I'm sorry, I should stop.
The first one is, what did the CIA actually do? There are several answers to that question. What the CIA is supposed to do, what it is legally tasked with doing, is very simply to recruit spies, to steal secrets, and then to analyze those secrets to give the president and other senior policymakers the best information with which they can make policy. Now, in real life, it's not that simple. The CIA does whatever the president tells it to do. That could be to overthrow foreign governments. It could be to implement covert action programs, to influence the foreign media, to even kill people. It just depends on who the president is and what policy he wants to implement.
Fascinating. Fascinating. So when they were doing that, you know, the drug epidemic or the crack epidemic or whatever they called it, opioid epidemic that the CIA intentionally caused because the president, like, I don't remember which president it was, but the president literally ordered the CIA to do that. to like start the drug epidemic that was primarily amongst the white people, but they needed to sell the narrative that like black people were the real problem and the real cause of all of the drug crisis or whatever it was. That was crazy. It makes sense that it would be, the CIA had something to do with that. What he said makes sense. Like the CIA will go into other countries, destabilize economies, destabilize like existing power structures, so that they can put in their own players and steer the country towards the direction that they want. That's how a lot of democracies and like other political I can't even remember what the political governments, I don't know, other governments at least, have fallen to dictatorship is because they literally needed somebody to man the wheel so they could more easily control the country and what goes on in the country. They do a lot of infiltration. I know, I at least know that much. They do a lot of spying. So what he said right now, what he said in this first, in this, not even, this is in the first half, what he said so far, we already know. I just wonder what we don't know from this. If he says something that I did not know about the CIA, I will mention it. But for now, let's keep going. Also, TikTok. Actually, before I forget, I remember that in the U.S. they wanted to ban TikTok because what was the reason again? I no the literal reason is because TikTok, there was a lot of information circulating around TikTok. TikTok made it easily available for a lot of people, and they didn't like that, so they wanted more control over TikTok because they couldn't run their propaganda machine quite as well as they would like to. Although now the propaganda machine has sort of evolved such that it's more so desensitization rather than actual propaganda. But yeah, no. Let's keep playing. Oh, sorry.
What skills make a good agent? You might be surprised by the answer, actually. The CIA, when it recruits spies, when it recruits operations officers, doesn't necessarily look for the big, buff guy who works out, every day or 6 days a week. They look for people who have sociopathic tendencies, not sociopaths. Sociopaths are impossible to control because they have no conscience. They blow right through a polygraph exam, but they won't take orders. People who have sociopathic tendencies do react to a polygraph. They do experience regret or remorse. They will respond to directives and orders. I'll give you an example. When I first was recruited by the CIA, I was asked in a group of new hires what we would do if we got a cable from CIA headquarters ordering us to collect information on the Indonesian economy. You recruit the Indonesian economic secretary, you make him your best friend.
Oh, this can't be good. Oh, is this a sign for me to just pause?
You spend money on him, your wives become friends, you vacation together, but you learn that he is just not recruitable. So what do? Well, one of my colleagues said you double down, work the case another 6 months, and hope for the best. A second colleague said maybe you work it through your wives, maybe your wife can convince his wife to give you the information. I raised my hand and I said, you break into the Indonesian embassy and you steal it. And the instructor said, that's exactly what you do. That's a sociopathic tendency.
Yeah. I think that part makes sense, and I already knew that, so. Well, the part about like having to recruit.
What's the
people
coolest piece of spy tech you ever got
just
to
a little.
use? There's kind of a dirty little secret about spy tech, and it is that 95% of it is purchased from Amazon.com.
What is going on with all this buffering? Am I gonna have to edit this out, the buffering? I don't know. Why is... And when I need to record specifically, It's primarily when I need to record. Why?
Seriously. Because it is cheaper and it is quicker just to go online and buy it and then use it operationally than it is to invent it from scratch. The coolest piece of spy tech that I ever used was, it was a leather briefcase. I just went into the local marketplace in Pakistan and bought it. I think it cost the equivalent of like $10. And over the course of 3 days, one of our technical officers pulled the threads out of it, installed a wire all the way around the briefcase, which could act as a listening device, and then packed the area around the wire with these little teeny tiny batteries that I had never seen before. And then he sewed the whole thing close again. So I walked into a meeting with my little briefcase. The bad guy took the briefcase from me, opened it up, looked through it. It didn't have anything in it because it was all sewn into the lining. And we sat there and had the...
You know, the thing is, I'm not even against him saying that this person might have been a bad guy.
had the meeting while my colleagues half a mile away were able to listen to the entire thing. It was very cool. Does this...
Yes, that does sound very cool. However, the bad guy. I'm not doubting. I need to stop stuttering. I'm not doubting that maybe the person, the specific person that he's talking about was a bad guy. I'm not doubting that. I'm just baffled by the connotation bad guy when you guys are technically also the bad guys. Do we really have room to be labeling? I mean, the person who was dealing with might have genuinely been an evil person. We don't know. But I'm just saying, it's crazy. That's great. The bad guy.
CIA listened through our phones and laptop cameras. Yes, I hate to say it. There was a dramatic leak.
Pause. If they can listen to you through your speaker on your smart TV, turn that whatchamacallit into a microphone. What's stopping them from using your phone or laptop? If they can do that, I'm pretty sure phone and laptop aren't a problem. That's all I gotta say though. Anything with a listening device, for the most part, is not a problem for them. And like maybe burners, right? Maybe burner phones. Those probably, it would be a little bit harder to actually hack into those or do anything with those. But the question is also, what's the limit of this technology? What's the limit of their access? Because there are things that likely go under the radar. Like when he mentioned the briefcase thing, they clearly couldn't track him through any of the means that he's mentioned, assuming that the means that he's mentioned are true. It seems like they weren't able to monitor that person, it could be a him or a her, that person through the means that he's currently mentioning, like phone, laptop, computer, TV. Maybe they were in a different country and maybe they don't have jurisdiction to do that in other countries or something. I don't know. But clearly there's a limit to what they can do. It seems, for now, based on what he said, the context clues, and what I'm putting together currently. That's interesting. Let's keep it pushing, though.
In 2017, that the CIA came to call the Vault 7 disclosures. Gigabytes worth of documents leaked by a CIA technology engineer. What he told us was that the CIA can intercept anything from anyone, number one. Number two, they can remotely take control of your car through the car's embedded computer. To do what? To make you drive off a bridge, into a tree, to make you kill yourself and make it look like an accident. They can take over your smart television and turn the speaker into a microphone so that they can listen to what's being said in the room even when the TV is turned off. God knows what else that they can do that hasn't been leaked. Are hitmen real? Yes. At the National Security Council, there is a committee that meets every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock to draw up something called the kill list. They sit around a table and they make a list of all the people.
Hold on now, buddy. Y'all have a real life, from what it's sounding like. You know what? Let me let you finish. The kill list. Keep going. Let me guess. Does this kill list involve your heart attack gun or something? Sorry.
That they want to kill that week. And then they take it back to the CIA, which has a dedicated unit. I won't tell you the name, but it has a dedicated unit that takes receipt of the list. They say, okay, number one. They drive to the airport, they get on the plane, they go out to that country, they kill the person, they come back, and then they go to number 2 on the list. That happens every single week. Now, we can have a conversation about whether that's right or whether it's wrong. It's certainly immoral. It's illegal, but it's been tasked by the president. At the same time, they will tell you there hasn't been another 9/11, has there? Maybe it's because we're out there killing people.
What kind of people would be on?
Before we get into what kind of people would be on the list, so you're telling me that crime is only bad when the other people commit crime, but when we commit crime, the so good guys commit crime, it's fine. It might be a little bit immoral. Our departments may be formed out of a bunch of people with a lot of, sociopathic tendencies, each and every one of them. But it's for the greater, it's evil, but it's for the greater good. Is that what you're telling me right now, bro? Are you serious right now, bro? Are you serious right now, bro? My eyes, oh my gosh. Are you serious right now? Firstly, you have a real life death note on your hands. The kill list, a real life death note. These boys gonna pull up with a heart attack gun, I promise you. Talking about some death note. I finally caught you, L. This is my perfect victory! I swear. What is up with these dudes? What kind of people are on that list, actually? I assume that these are bad people. I assume that some of them aren't so bad people, but they're in the way of certain things, so they need to be gotten rid of. That's what I'm assuming. And I'm going to stick by that.
That list.
Oh, the most dangerous terrorists in the world. Or at least people that the CIA deems to be the most dangerous terrorists in the world. How does the CIA...
Again, narratives. It's all about the narrative, I'm telling you. Whoever is the most dangerous, the most perceived threat by the CIA is the one who gets dealt with. So if the CIA decides a person who's discovered the cure to an incurable disease is a threat to the medical sector in some way, shape, or form, they're gonna get rid of them. Not because they were a bad person, not because they did some effed up ish, but mainly because they discovered something that they should. I feel like there have been some people who have discovered something about the CIA, some secrets that they weren't supposed to know about, and they got dealt with. And they were put on the kill list or some ish. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. Talking about whether you want to discuss the morality of it. There is no morality to discuss. You threw it out the window. Let's not get into that, though. Let's not get into that. Let's just...
CIA recruits spies in foreign countries. That cuts right to the very heart of what the CIA is. The CIA trains its officers in something called the asset acquisition cycle. It has 4 steps: spot, assess, develop, recruit. So let's say you're a...
Sorry, I had to check something. Let's get back into it. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, right, sorry. I remember now. The CIA most certainly hires spies from other countries or hires people, trains people from other countries to do spy work for, the West or the United States rather. Because they don't want to get too heavily affiliated. If that person is from that, I assume, if that person is from that country, whatever country it may be, if they get caught, there is plausible deniability on the CIA's part to go like, well, no, clearly this is like a person who was born and raised here. They don't belong. We don't know them. We've never met them in our entire lives. Yeah. And if you think that they are involved with us, affiliated with us in some way, shape, or form, prove it. Because right now, it seems like it's their word against mine. Or at least that's what it'd be sounding like to me. Let's keep it pushing. Oh.
Brand new CIA officer overseas. You get out there and mingle and go to diplomatic cocktail parties or go anywhere where there might be a viable target for you. You spot the target, you go up, hi, how are you? I'm the new officer at the American Embassy. I'm covering political affairs or economic affairs or trade or whatever it is you're doing. You exchange business cards. That's spotting. Assessing is I say, so what do you do for a living? If you tell me that you do something that I'm operationally interested in, that's my assessment of you. Then I develop you. That's actually the fun part. That is us going to lunch and going to dinner, and I spend money on you because I have literally an unlimited budget to do so, and maybe we go on vacation.
Hold on now, big fella. Hold on now, big fella. An unlimited budget to do so. An unlimited budget to do so. You know when they say governments are the only things that can spend money unfettered? They don't. An unlimited budget to. You're making me mad. I'm sorry. I need to calm down. Okay, so the phases are going spotting, assessing, developing. And out of the 3 stages, developing is the most important stage because it's the trust forming stage, it seems like. Where you build like a rapport with the person whom you've spotted and assessed. Okay, that's interesting. So it's like prey mentality. You feel me? Like predator prey mentality. Okay, fine.
Vacation together, and our wives are friends, and you mention offhandedly that you like to go fishing, let's say, so I charter a boat for $4,000 and I take you deep sea fishing because you could never afford to do it on your own, and then we become best friends. And because we're best friends, I say to you, hey, would you do me a favor? Yeah, I'm sorry to ask, but the Russians have this new tank, and I know that you guys have access to the plans, and I would really appreciate it if you could just make me a copy of those plans. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it would help me a lot. So, hey, thanks, I appreciate it. I'll pick them up tonight. And then maybe I start giving you a little bit of money. And then finally, when it comes to the recruitment, I say, I haven't been totally honest with you. I'm actually a CIA officer, undercover. Are you okay with that?
If he doesn't say
You're
yes,
a great guy, and you're my best friend, and how about if I give you $5,000 a month, and you just answer my questions, right? That's cool, right? And you
$5,000
undoubtedly
a
will.
month. I'll squeal right now. I will squeal right now like a pig, boy. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't sell out my own country like that. Unless. Unfortunately for you, I don't have any valuable information to give you. Unless. I mean, big bro. Like, an unlimited budget, you said? Got me licking my lips over it. I'm sorry. Am I making you uncomfortable? Step back. Oh, my bad. My bad. My bad, big dog. You know, I just heard unlimited something, and something flew away from me might have been my sanity. You said 5,000 a month for how many months? Dollars? If I convert that to my currency, what would that be? Now you got it then. You know, I'm kidding.
Say yes.
Oh, it's an ad. Wow, as soon as I started.
Save up to 40, yeah.
This video is
Yes.
too long already.
And the rest is history.
I haven't made.
Got to be a good actor to do that.
Long-form video.
Pull that off. Yeah.
And a sociopath.
A sociopath.
Do you ever
You said
fear for your
sociopathic
life?
tendencies.
Not
What
now,
is it?
but over the course of my career, I did several times. And I'll give you one example. There were 2 active assassination
you would.
attempts against me. In one, I just got lucky. And unfortunately, my next door neighbor was killed instead. He was the British defense attaché in Athens, Brigadier General Stephen Saunders. I think about it every single day. In another, an enemy country
Survivors
sent one of
Guild?
its officers and a double agent to kill me, but we had advance warning that it was going to happen, and we were able to neutralize the threat, as they say in the movies. But there was another
Neutralize
experience
the
that I had that troubled me deeply. I was serving in Pakistan at the time, and I was staying in a small guest house because it was safer than a big hotel. Sure enough, the big hotel was blown up and 45 people were killed while I was living there. But I left my guest house at a different time, like I did every day, and took a different route, like I did every day, to go to work. And I noticed that a man on a motorcycle wearing a red helmet was trying very hard to stay in my blind spot. I worked 12, 14 hours, whatever it was that day, and I left, and it was dark. And sure enough,
Actually, I heard this story on TikTok. This part I've already heard on. Not some of these. I think maybe one of these I've heard of on TikTok. Aside from this one, I don't even remember. But this one I've definitely seen. I've definitely seen this one on TikTok. It was like a clip. Like this guy actually turns. Let me not spoil this for anybody who's seeing this for the first time. Let me not spoil this for anybody who's seeing this for the first time. Let me just play it.
there he was again. There's a definition of surveillance. It's multiple sightings at time and distance. So I've seen him multiple times at different times of the day and at different places. I'm definitely under surveillance. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, got in the car, drove a block, there he was again. So when I got to the office, I said to the security officer, I am under surveillance. I'm 100% sure that I'm under surveillance. He said, well, let's wait until the chief comes in. When the chief finally came in, I told him the story, and he said, well, you know what you have to do. I said, I know. I'm going to kill him if I see him this afternoon. I was worried about it all day.
Yeah, whenever he
And
says
all
that,
my
they're so-
coworkers came up
with
to
a
me that day
straight face,
to
it
slap
kills
me on
me
the
every
back and say,
time.
don't worry, we're all going to be out there. We're going to have a whole security
I'ma
team.
kill him.
I said, I know, but I never killed anybody before, and I'm so worried
I know.
that he's going to kill me before I get
kill
a
him.
clear shot at him. That afternoon, I had a meeting at a safe house that we shared with the local service. And on my way out at the end of the meeting, and I don't know why I did this, but I turned around and I said, General, are you following me? And he said, no, why? And I said, because I'm under surveillance, and if I see this guy again, I'm going to kill him. And I never saw him again. I learned later that several of their officers were sitting around and saying, you know, that new American guy, he's such a nice guy. Nobody's that nice. I wonder if he's being nice just to try to make us drop our guard. And they decided to put the worst surveillance officer in their entire intelligence service on me. And if I hadn't said something that afternoon, he would be in the ground today.
You feel me?
Does Trump have the UK and Europe's back? No.
Hold on. Hold on, I'm sorry. Every time he says this ish with a straight face, it kills me. Because what are you talking about? No, legitly, because what are you talking about? You're so straight faced with it. Deadpan. If I hadn't asked that question that day, that person would have been 6 feet under today. His body would be in the dirt, getting eaten by worms, long expired. His skeleton would be his only remain. Would be the only thing left of his remains. With a deadpan face, I couldn't. I don't know, that the deadpan face and the calm tone that he says it with, that just makes it funnier. I don't know why. Because his face is expressive, but whenever he says these things, his facial expressions don't change. His posture doesn't change. It's still the same, and it's it's hilarious for that reason. Golly. No, let's keep it pushing.
He doesn't. When we hear from journalists or political figures that Donald Trump doesn't like the Europeans, he doesn't like NATO, he doesn't like the European Union, we should take the man at his word. I don't think he does have Europe's back, or even the UK's back. When he says America first, he means America first, whatever that means. He has an idea in his own mind, but I don't think he cares one whit about Europe. Which film or TV series portrays spy work the most accurately? Great question. I will tell you that at the CIA, we watch every single spy movie and spy series. All of us do. I'm proud to say that I have been the script advisor on The Bourne Ultimatum, on Kill the Messenger, on True Lies, and on Burn Notice. We love this kind of thing. Most of them have nothing whatsoever to do with the reality of the CIA, except a couple. In terms of TV, Homeland. Wow, they got it right. The only thing that...
Homeland? Is that a series or something? He said TV, so it must be a series. I'm gonna have to check that out then. I should write this down so I don't forget. I'm gonna write this down right here. Horrible handwriting, but it's right there. Said Homeland series. Yes. What was I on? Yeah, no, crazy. I mean, the funny thing is, I actually thought about that earlier in the reaction. I was like, so what about like movies and stuff and what they portray in movies about the CIA? Or like in spy movies in general about like secret organizations. Because I've been thinking, ever since I saw his videos on TikTok, I've been thinking of like Kingsman and stuff. And I'm like, how much in movies in general, in like spy movies in general, are the CIA represented? Because I would assume that they wouldn't want many of these secrets out and about. I don't even fully trust Bro when he says the things that he says. Unless they're, because I mentioned desensitizing the general public or like the consensus of the citizens of like a nation so that they don't react as negatively to things like this. When I said that's what he might be doing. He might be working for the CIA, doing this whole thing. Because why would they let this air? I'm sorry. If they have the ability to spy on people, etc., why are we trusting that, they couldn't just take this ish off the internet somehow? Like they don't have some secret technique to make sure that they have, no. I could go on a rant. I'm not gonna. We're gonna keep it pushing.
They got wrong was if you go crazy, they send you to the hospital until you're not crazy anymore. In movies,
Actually, the funny thing about that though was this lady on TikTok who was talking about her experience with like the CIA, and she's like, I held a high position in the CIA and stuff, and I was in this meeting and I made a joke, stupid joke. I said, well, what if I were to one day feel like I'm just gonna spill all the secrets and I'm just gonna let everybody know, a joke. And she said the person who was sitting across from her, or the person she was having this meeting with, looked at her dead in the eyes and said, oh, well, then we just make you look crazy. And I said, yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. Oh, jeez. Messed up, messed up. I gotta stop cussing in my videos. That's another thing.
There was a movie that came out in 2004 called The Recruit. The first half of the movie, where the lead character is going through training, 100% accurate, except for one minor difference. They didn't beat us in training. Everything else that he went through, whew, we went through it in spades. Most other movies, stinkers. And listen, just as a general rule, if somebody calls the CIA the company, turn it off. Is social media the biggest intelligence gathering tool today? It is absolutely one of them, yes. I was always amazed when I was at the CIA at how targets, legitimate intelligence targets, would literally put their entire lives on LinkedIn and Facebook. Incredible. You don't even have to do any research. They lay it all out right there on the screen for you. So the answer is yes. If you value your privacy, if you don't want to pop up on the radar, you have to stay away from social media. What was 9/11's impact on the world?
Yeah.
I was in the CIA's headquarters on the morning of 9/11. Well, we knew we were at war.
I think I've heard this
And one
one
of
too.
the first thoughts that I had that morning was, does Osama bin Laden have any idea what he's done? Does he have any idea how many people are going to die? We all knew what the American response was going to be. It was going to be merciless. The question is, what was 9/11's impact on the world? It was dramatic and lasting. We're almost 24 years after the 9.
I think the impact of 9/11 on the world was like, it was mainly from a standpoint of like fear. Fear, not fear as in like we're next, but fear is in if this can happen to one of the most powerful nations, the one of the most powerful nations in the world, globally, mind you, if this can happen to them, what says that it can't happen to us? What says they couldn't just you feel me? That was the main thing that was going on with like 9/11. Its impact was mainly just fear amongst the masses, I would say. I don't know though. It had an impact, but yeah. Global hegemon got attacked. That's like if one of the most powerful Pokemons in the world got attacked by another Pokemon and was severely hurt. It's kind of like that. And then you have a weaker Pokemon and you're like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I can't fight that Pokemon. If it can happen to him, it can definitely happen to me. Oh no.
11 attacks, and we still can't go through airports with our shoes on. Untold trillions of dollars have been spent
Yeah.
on counterterrorism and defense, and that is
Trillion?
probably never going to
Sorry.
change. Going to change. Why are there so many wars in 2025? Well, do you want my real answer or do you want my diplomatic answer? My real
I want
answer
both.
is the U.S. has a defense budget that is bigger than the next 8 largest countries combined.
Yeah.
After 9/11, the U.S. entered into something like a permanent wartime economy, where if we didn't have a war to fight and to finance, we would actually go into recession. Now, we see ourselves as the world's peacekeepers. In many cases, we're not. We tend to be places where we're not wanted or welcome, and we end up forgetting to leave. There's an old joke inside the CIA about Iran. Like, why would Iran put its country right in the middle of all of our military bases? There you have it. Why are there so many wars? It's because the U.S. has an activist foreign policy, and sometimes we make friends on the wrong side of issues. Can the CIA make some?
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Wow. That's not shocking information by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know why though. My brain is drawing a blank because I knew about what I was gonna say, but now my brain it's completely drawing a blank. But no. I can't. Ooh, yo, short-term memory is kicking my ass. I gotta keep this video going though. Yeah, no.
Someone disappear without a trace? You bet they can, and they do all the time. In the immediate aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, the CIA created, for example, an archipelago of secret prisons, and they would just disappear people. We would capture people in Al-Qaeda safe houses, for example, let's say in Pakistan or Afghanistan, and we would ship them off to these secret prisons. And when I say secret prisons, I mean in many cases they were so secret that even the presidents and prime ministers of the countries where the prisons were based didn't know that there were secret CIA prisons in their countries. So the CIA can make people disappear in that respect. They can kill people and just bury them, in some crazy foreign land and nobody would ever know. But if you're a CIA officer, or better yet, let's say you're a KGB officer and you want to defect, the CIA will give you a completely new identity, more money than you can ever count, and you and your family can live happily ever after, under the name John Smith, and nobody would be the wiser. How does the USA track terrorist threats?
I'm sorry?
They use something called the terrorist matrix. It's also called all-source intelligence. Believe it or not, members of terrorist groups actually give press interviews in which they telegraph what they're going to do in their next attack. That's one way, the media. Electronic surveillance. It could be intercepting cell phones, intercepting emails, intercepting encoded messages. Even intercepting messages from game platforms. We have satellites that track these things. We have spies providing what's called HUMINT, short for human intelligence. So you use literally every source at your dispense and put this matrix together to try to disrupt that next attack. Can you be a spy and have a moral compass? What a great question that is. I'm going to say yes because I had a moral compass. It cost me my freedom. It cost me my job. It cost me my family. But it was worth it. There are some things that you are tasked to do as a CIA counterintelligence officer that you just have to say no to. There are some things that are so immoral, so unethical, in many cases so illegal, that you just should not do it. What is the most controversial thing you've worked on or heard about? It has to be the torture program. I went to prison for 23 months for going public with the CIA's torture program. I went on ABC News in the United States and
They only gave you 23 months? Nah. Nah, those boys are too lenient. No offense to you. But 23 months? They have people in jail for less, and you're telling me they gave you 23 months? Not even 5 years, 2 years? Like, that's barely 2 years. Nah, they let you off the hook. That's crazy. That's crazy. They let you off the hook for it. The thing is, I've heard him talk about the torture program, then I've heard him talk about anything else. So let's just keep it pushing. Let's just keep it pushing. Oh.
December of 2007, and I said three things. I said the CIA was torturing its prisoners. I said that torture was official U.S. government policy. And I said that the policy had been personally approved by the president himself. The FBI investigated me. They determined I had not committed a crime. Then Barack Obama became president. They secretly reopened the case against me. I was indicted and charged with 5 felonies, including 3 counts of espionage for giving this interview. Remember, espionage can be a death penalty charge. I had 3 of them. Well, I hadn't committed espionage, and finally, they dropped those charges. But I ended up taking a plea to a lesser charge just to make this thing go away. I had 5 kids at home. I had gone bankrupt from the legal expenses, and I was facing 45 years in prison. They offered me 23 months, and I took the deal. But I would do it
45 to
again
23.
today if I had to, because somebody had to stand up and say that this was wrong. Shouldn't
we
torture be
appreciate you,
legal
bro.
if
We
we are
appreciate
protecting
you.
American lives? Absolutely not.
you're telling
Not
me
under
that
any
they-
circumstances.
who's your
Torture
lawyer?
doesn't work. Torture is illegal internationally. It is immoral. And you end up making a recruitment video, essentially, for your greatest enemies. For example, when it became apparent that the U.S. was torturing military prisoners at Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq, and video was leaked showing those prisoners in orange jumpsuits, ISIS bought orange jumpsuits and made its kidnapping victims, who were mostly aid workers and American journalists, wear orange jumpsuits and then beheaded them on camera. They did that only because the U.S. was torturing its prisoners. So torture does not work. Torture is illegal, it is immoral, it is unethical, and no one should be in the business of doing it.
But the CIA
What's the most
still
dangerous
uses it.
country in the world right now? Also a good question. There are several. And I've been to all of them. I never got to go to the nice places. I went to 72 countries with the CIA, and almost all of them were just awful. Some of the most dangerous places in the world are Yemen, Somalia, Gaza, Afghanistan, parts of Pakistan. You have to sleep with one eye open. You just never know how bad things are going to get. And I'll give you an example. I went to Yemen 5 times. And every time I went, it was worse than the previous time. The 5th and final time that I went, we were only allowed to stay at one hotel. The hotel had a 30-foot-high wall around it to protect it from bomb blasts. You couldn't stay in any of the other hotels by then. Well, the day after I arrived, a group of South Korean diplomats arrived. And on the drive from the airport to the hotel, they were ambushed and they were all killed. 6 of them.
Oh no.
A couple of days later, a group of South Korean intelligence officers arrived to investigate the murder of the 6 diplomats.
My bad. My bad. I had to dip out for a little bit. But we're back now. Let's get this started and finished because we have like 9 minutes left. Let's go! I don't even remember what we were talking about exactly. What point we were on. I remember the video.
No one should be in the business of doing it. What's the most dangerous country in the world right now? Also a
The
good
US?
question. There are several. And I've been to all of them. I never got to go to the nice places. I went to 72 countries with the CIA, and almost
assuming
all of them were just
Yemen,
awful. Some of the most
Congo,
dangerous places in the world are Yemen, Somalia, Gaza,
yeah, Somalia,
Afghanistan,
Afghanistan,
parts of Pakistan.
Congo,
You have to sleep with
Kenya.
one eye open. You just never know how bad things are going to get. And I'll give you an example. I went to Yemen 5 times. And every time I went, it was worse than the previous time.
I remember
The
it.
5th and final time that I went, we were only allowed to stay at
For like
one
a few
hotel.
hours
The hotel had a 30-foot-high wall around it to protect it from bomb blasts. You couldn't stay in any of the other hotels by then. Well, the day after I arrived,
The
a
Lion
group
King.
of South Korean diplomats arrived. And on the drive from the airport to the hotel, they were ambushed and they were all killed, 6 of them. A couple of days later, a group of South Korean intelligence officers arrived to investigate the murder of the 6 diplomats. And they were ambushed and they were murdered. And so the South Koreans just closed their embassy and went
funny at
home.
all.
That's a pretty
It's
dangerous
just like,
country.
what the fuck?
What do you make of U.S. foreign policy right now? A complete and utter disaster. I've never seen an administration that works so hard to offend and alienate our friends. Threatening to invade Canada? That's an act of war. Canada is not just a NATO country, but it's a Five Eyes country. Five Eyes being the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and
By the way, I'd like you to pay particular attention to how he says our friends. They're fine fucking up every other country that isn't beneficial to them. They're okay with effing up like third world countries so long as they have nothing to lose and everything to gain from it. They're absolutely fine with that. The fact that the only reason it's in disarray, foreign policy, right now is because he's literally going for every country. Even his friends. He's essentially isolating the US from the rest of the world, from their allies, which puts the US at a disposition.
New Zealand, the closest alliance in the entire
A bad
world.
position is what I mean by disposition.
And what, we're gonna,
Wait, pause. We're back.
alliance in the entire world. And what, we're gonna send an army to Canada and overthrow them? It doesn't make any sense. Even if you're joking, why would you even joke like that out loud? We don't coordinate with our European allies. We're threatening to invade Panama, to take the Panama Canal. We're threatening to invade and annex Greenland. It's craziness. So I'm not a big supporter of U.S. foreign policy right now. Does China actually pose a
Does China actually pose a real risk to the West? Not really. Not really, kinda. It's weird. The technical difficulties right now are insane. Let me just let that be known. Other than that, I think I said something about China. It's in depend. What do you define as a risk to the West, to Western agendas? If that's the case, then technically anything anywhere besides the West is a risk to Western agenda. If you're considering it from that perspective, but like there's a difference between a risk and a threat. But we're not gonna get into that. I'll just let bro answer because I don't know. I'm not qualified to speak on this. So yeah.
not a big supporter of U.S. foreign policy right now?
I'm not qualified.
Does
to speak
China
on any of
actually
this.
pose a real risk to the West? I think no. And I'll tell you why. China simply does not have a history of expansionism. If you put aside Tibet, which the Chinese have always claimed to be a part of China, the Chinese have never invaded another country. They had a little border skirmish with the Vietnamese in the 1970s. They had a little border skirmish against India in the 1960s. But they don't invade countries. And they have only one military base outside of China. It's in Djibouti, and believe it or not, they share it
Djibouti.
with the United States. It's the
No, I refuse to believe that's Djibouti. What you trying to tell me, bruh? What are you trying to say? Say it with your whole chest. Don't hold back. Djibouti. This nigga got me fucked up. You know what? Nah, just keep it pushing.
US that sees China as the big threat, and Australia and the Philippines kind of see China as a threat. But the Chinese are perplexed as to why we so distrust them. Is there a threat from China to Taiwan? Of course there is. Taiwan is also seen by the Chinese as being a legitimate part of China, but there's no indication that the Chinese are preparing any offensive measures against Taiwan. I just don't see what the big threat is. Is the CIA or MI6 more elite? MI6 is an absolutely top-tier, first-rate service, but it's like comparing apples and oranges. At the CIA, we used to say how much we wished we could be like MI6, because MI6 is small and it's lean, and when they decide to do something, by God, they go out and do it. At the CIA, when we decide to do something, we have 6 layers of bureaucracy that we have to go through to finally get permission. And then the attorneys get involved, and then you have to send it to the president, and then he has to sign it, or change it, or reject it,
There's
or
some bounce like
do whatever it is that he has to do. They don't have that kind of a problem at MI6. They just report directly to the prime minister, and they can get things done. The CIA has a budget that absolutely dwarfs the MI6 budget, and we have our own, high-level technology budget, satellites and spy planes and all kinds of crazy things. So they're both great services, but they're different at the same time. Are sleeper agents real? Yes, they are. And the country that is the best at using sleeper agents is Russia. The United States doesn't have a program of sleeper agents, and I'm frankly unaware of any Western intelligence service that has sleeper agents or that uses sleeper agents. The Russians have an army of sleeper agents. In fact, just in the last 2 or 3 years, a group of Russian sleeper agents in Northern Virginia, including one in my neighborhood, were disrupted.
I've heard
and
him talk about this before, I'm pretty sure. Actually. I've heard him talk about this before. On a clip. Technical difficulties be damned! This video needs to come out! We're finishing this today! I don't care about the lighting! I don't care about shit! We're finishing this. Fuck!
is also seen by the Chinese as being a
Technical difficulties, like I said, be damned! All the way to hell! We're finishing this!
disrupted and arrested. So what a sleeper agent is somebody who is trained as an intelligence officer, who is then sent to the United States or the UK or Brazil or Paris or wherever, and told to just get a job, any job, and be a national of that country. And so you've got people who, in the case of what happened in Washington recently, one was an elementary school teacher, and one worked for an airline. Everybody thought they were Americans, and in fact, they're collecting classified information, mostly from US defense contractors, and secretly transmitting it back to Russian intelligence in the evenings. They were disrupted and expelled from the United States. Is chief of disguise a real job? You bet it is. They have the most fun
does bro
in the
say
world.
like
On the
that?
day that I got
Kills
hired,
me every time!
I was sitting with 2 other
bet it
brand new
is.
officers.
You are a
and I sat
dad.
down, I said, "Hi, my name's John. It's nice to meet you both." They said, "What are you gonna do here at the agency?" I said, "I'm gonna be an intelligence officer. I have degrees in Middle Eastern studies. What are you guys gonna do?" The woman said to me, "Oh, I just graduated from the Falls Church, Virginia Academy of Beauty." Academy of Beauty. She ended up becoming a master disguise maker. And the guy on my left was a cartoonist for his college newspaper. He drew a little cartoon that was very popular. He became a master forger. So it doesn't really matter what your background is. If you're good at it, there's a place for you at the CIA. And many of those places are working for the director of disguise. What made you decide to blow the whistle? It's very brave. Thank you.
It's very brave.
At the CIA, we are trained
that
to
lower than
believe
the
that
others.
everything in life is a shade of gray. And that is just simply not true. Some things are black and white. They're right or wrong. And the United States has laws that ban torture We have the Federal Torture Act of 1946. We are not just signatories to the United Nations Convention Against Torture, we wrote the United Nations Convention Against Torture. In 1946, the United States executed Japanese soldiers who waterboarded American POWs. In 1968, an American soldier waterboarded a North Vietnamese prisoner and was given 20 years at hard labor in a military prison after being convicted of torture. The law never changed. So how is it then that from 2002 to 2005, torture was somehow magically legal? It wasn't legal. We were committing crimes against humanity. And so it was something that I having known the details, I couldn't sleep at night. And I believed, and in retrospect, I was right, that the American people had a right to know what their government was doing in their name. And I'm proud to say that because of my revelations, the McCain-Feinstein Amendment was passed into law, and it formally and permanently banned torture.
Have you investigated any of us before this shoot? Funny you should say that. There was some light touch work done. Let's just put it there. Especially the cameraman, that one there.
Boosie, you and I have all...
As the cameraman, my heart would sink. But that's been it for the reaction, and we got through it at long last. The last stretch was just technical difficulty. That last stretch was just technical difficulty after technical difficulty after technical difficulty. I'm telling you, I don't know what was happening. The universe did not want me making this content, but I'm getting this out for y'all, my 4 subscribers. I love y'all. Okay. Am I missing something? Surely not. Like the video, share it with a friend. Consider liking, actually. Let me say that. Consider liking the video, sharing it with a friend, saving it if you want. The link to the original video will be in the description, although they really don't need your support, considering, well, I guess everybody could use support, but like, if anybody needs your support right now, it is me, moi. Push this shit out, you feel me, to a wider audience. So yeah, no, that was interesting. Yeah, no. Thanks for watching, L Nation. I'ma see you next time.